As white people, is our deepest fear that we are inadequate? Or is our deepest fear that Black excellence is powerful beyond measure? It is their light, not their darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who are they to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are they not to be? Look honestly, and you will see how they demonstrate love as a reflection of our unwarranted hate. Our playing God does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about positioning ourselves and controlling the narrative so that Black and brown folks feel insecure around us. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of the Spirit that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in all of us, no matter what your skin tone is. And as we let our own light shine, by atoning for and repairing the harm of our ways, as we learn to serve and see the true greatness of Aboriginal and Indigenous cultures and human beings around us, we unconsciously give white people around the planet the permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. From this point, we can build a new world that is connected to the planet and each other. Together, humanity is achievable.
What are these white people afraid of?
They're afraid of Black groups, mobs, rising up and taking the power. It does make me feel uncomfortable to talk about these things because they are incredibly disturbing and revolting.
Eric Lott, a professor at the Graduate Center of the City University of New York, says blackface represents a strange mix of envy, fascination, desire, and fear. The history of blackface is long and complex and deeply ingrained in our culture.
Who was that lady I saw you with this afternoon? That was no lady. That was my wife.
Even Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd blacked up.
Can't tell lady sing this song, do that, do that. Can't tell me sex by my long. Fantastic, isn't it? Flying around all night.
For more than 100 years, white and then Black performers wore dark makeup and created not only a popular theatrical form, but stereotypes that are still with us today.
Racism is about jealousy. If you think that's a reductive statement, please stick with me. When I say jealousy, I'm talking about insecurity, which is really what jealousy is, but I think it's easier to understand if I say insecurity rather than just jealousy. Because we know from appropriation that we are very jealous of other cultures. Why would we want to listen to the music, eat the food, wear the clothes, do the hairstyles, have everything, the language, but not give credit where credit is due and not uplift the people who created it? White people are so lost in feeling like they don't have a connection to culture, especially many of us who are very far removed from our European roots. And I think the need to fill that space and that insecurity of this lack of culture and lack of something to call our own is often filled with cultural appropriation and the idea that being white is superior. I was first introduced to this concept of racism being jealousy in college, and I can't trace it back to one particular scholar, but I would like to give credit where credit is due to that Black scholar. If you can find anything tracing it to one particular person, please leave that in the comments. I think it's important to think about racism in this way if we want to unlearn it. Because, as some people say who are non-monogamous, or anyone who's just working on their relationships, jealousy is an indicator that something is not quite right with us. It's an indicator of our insecurity and how we might be feeling. It's not about what our partner is doing or what someone on Instagram is doing with their life that makes us feel inadequate. It's about something going on inside. And I think we really need to interrogate that. What is it about people of color showing excellence, people of color maybe being more in touch with culture, people of color being more in touch with the environment, people of color making better food, and everything else that we envy? What does that trigger in us? And why do we have the need to put those people down? It's about jealousy. And if we can figure out that we're feeling that way and trace that feeling back to maybe some of our unconscious biases, I think it's a lot easier to start thinking about, how can we unlearn that? How can I feel secure in my identity as a white person who has roots in maybe Italian and like other cultures, but like doesn't really feel connected to anything? How can I feel secure in myself to not want to put others down, whether that be racism or any other form of discrimination, or just plain hating on another woman because she's amazing? You know, I think this makes it seem like racism is very simple, but it also just helps us frame it in a way that's accessible to us. We know that dismantling racism starts with individual work, and personal growth is all about thinking about the hard things about yourself and the things and parts of yourself that you don't like. And jealousy is one of those things. No one wants to be jealous. It's an awful, awful feeling. And we don't want to admit that we're jealous. And we shy away from that, but it's something we can interrogate, and I think that is going to help us go a long way. Anyway, just my thoughts. Happy Juneteenth. I hopefully will speak about this more coherently in the future. Black Lives Matter.
From music to sports, politics to business, black excellence shines across the world. But here's the question: why does black success make so many white people uncomfortable, even afraid? In this video, we will dig deep into history, psychology, and society to uncover the real reason behind this fear. Watch and pay attention, and I will share my thought later.
So this lady asks, this black lady, are white women really that scared of black women? And I'm going to say yes. And this is my opinion as a white woman who is 53 years old and has lived in the South in Georgia in my entire life. But it's not being scared, but it's a fear. And it's not a physical fear, it is the mental fear. It is what we see in you and what we see you doing and how it challenges us, and the fear of that. So we see black women and we see how strong you are. We see you coming together as a community. We see you supporting each other. We see you supporting your community, supporting your families, supporting your children, going out and fighting for your rights, being authentic in your race and in your femininity. Anyway. And we're jealous. I think we're jealous because we would love to be that, I think, and we don't know how to break out of the indoctrination that we have been suppressed by our entire lives. And I'm not giving white women a pass, don't get me wrong, but I know and most women have been told, white women have been told our entire lives, be quiet, know your place, be a good girl, don't rock the boat, don't be too much. And when you are any of those things, you are ostracized because you have rocked their boat. And that is what black women are. You rock our boat, our mental boat, because you challenge us to look at how we are deficient and not living in our truth, and it makes us uncomfortable. And people don't like to be uncomfortable, and it makes us start to question ourselves, and people don't like to question themselves. We would rather live in our little bubble of white supremacy and what we know and comfortableness. I know that's not a word, than a lot of people would, white women would, rather than challenge themselves to grow and know more, because it's easy. Doing the work is hard. It's really hard. I've been doing the work the past several years, and it's hard. It is hard admitting some truths about yourself and some truths about yourself as a white woman. So yeah, I think that white women are scared of black women because you challenge us in that way, and a lot of us don't like it. And that's why we fear you. It's because we fear what you make us face.
It really is so good. Yeah, it's watermelon flavor. Let's get into it. This is part 2 of the watermelon stereotype. Watermelon didn't have any racial ties or meanings originally, and Americans were just as likely to link it to hillbillies in Tennessee to black slaves in South Carolina. Strangely, what people don't realize is that watermelon was very much a part of the everyday life of the African American slave. They would use watermelons to add extra weight to their cotton quotas. They would get the first day off of the harvest to eat watermelon, and they would grow and sell it on their plantations as they were slaves. But at that time, there was a very delicate balance between slave and slave owner. White slave owners needed to see their slaves indulging and enjoying the watermelon. They needed this to feed their God complex. They needed to see that the slaves' enjoyment of the watermelon was at their hands, and emancipation changed all of that. Part 3.
Have you guys seen that video that's going around of a black lad walking around in his neighborhood, and then he's being followed by a group of white people asking him why he's there? Because they particularly felt that he shouldn't be in this neighborhood. He repeatedly said to them, "This is my neighborhood." They constantly following him and harassing him for being in that particular neighborhood. Now, this is a public road. Even if it wasn't his neighborhood, this is a public road. This is how scary, you have to be fearful of us, our black men, where they go. Because, anything could have happened to you. He had his mobile phone and he filmed it. He was filming it. And there is this one man, he drove up in his car like Starsky and Hutch. Yes, I'm that old, I remember Starsky and Hutch. And went for a gun. It was one of the other men that stopped him. But they were there harassing this guy. He's walking, minding his own business and harassing him. He's in his own neighborhood. His mother has now put a statement out that says, yes, they do live in the neighborhood. And he went out for a walk so he can have a word, speak to his girlfriend privately on his phone. And why is it white people are so scared of black people? What is it? If you're white and you're watching this, let me know. What is the problem with you and black people? Why are you so scared? And why is it that you have to harass our men, right? In particular, right? Why are you so scared? There's good white people and there's bad white people. There's good black people and there's bad black people. We're not all the fucking same. What is it that's going on? Why? And you're going to be called out because now we've got social media, we've got mobile phone, and we'll film that shit, right? So you're going to be called out. It's particularly disturbing because, anything can happen. What about the lad they found hanging from a bridge, or was it a tree or something? He didn't put himself there. He was at work. He was in his work. He was working. This is the thing in this day and age, 2024, and we've got to fear. We have to be fearful for our men and women when they're out on their own. This is crazy, and the government need to do something about this. This cannot go on. It can't go on. Anyway, let me have your comment. Put it in the comment. Let's have your comment. See you on the next one.
The reason why you become silent, there's one that always comes up, and that's fear. White people are afraid of black people. They are afraid of us. And it's a very interesting thing because black people know it. We know white people are afraid. But you have to start getting into the psychology. What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid? But it's an interesting dynamic. Now, also you see the difference in what racism is, do you not? Racism implies you have not just prejudice, but the power to do something with that prejudice. Now, I don't like you, not only that, but I'm going to control whether you can get, I may say I hate you. I hate white people. I hate them. It's not going to change you getting that, loan. When you go to the bank. I can hate you all the way to the bank. Not going to change. Do you see the difference? That whereas white racism says, not only do I not like you, but I'm going to change the impact of where you can live. I'm going to determine with that racism where your powers are. You following me? And I'm talking about as a group, not an individual.
Okay, I seen a video of a black man and a white man having a conversation, and the conversation was, what did you guys see us as before y'all saw us as humans? And the man replied something of the extent of like a highly functional or a highly intelligent pet, right? And then I did a little bit of research. They used to feed the little black kids in a pen, like that you would feed a pig in, like how you put it in there and they all gather around the pen and eat. Yeah, they used to do that, right? So like, if y'all really saw us as animals, which it seems like they did, if you would R-word them, you would R-word the dog. You would R-word the horse. You would R-word the cow. You get what I'm saying? You would R-word the cat. Because if you saw these people as animals, but you continue to R-word these people and SA these people, what does that say about you? This is a real thought, by the way.
I am so sick and tired of this chip that you're carrying on your shoulder. We have bent over backwards. We have done backflips to make you feel equal. And yet, we've done everything. Perfect example is in the federal government. If you and I get the exact same rating for a position, do you know what? You get it. And do you know why? Because you're black. Is that fair? Is that fair to me?
There is a woeful lack of understanding, not only in the black community, but really in the white community, of why black people are in the condition that we're in and why all of the efforts that whites have made and government has made to try to solve the problem in the way that government sees fit has not really worked. And blacks are still crying out for more and more and more. And I realize that this is an irritant to white people because you really don't understand. And it's not really your fault. It's not really your fault. You just don't understand. But I think if you gave yourself a chance to hear what happened to these black people that makes them as they are as an irritant to you and those who think you have done the best you could. And maybe you have, but I respectfully suggest to you that there's so much more that could be done, that should be done, and that must be done if America is to survive. Believe me.
The biggest reason that I know that white feminism is a real problem is just the perceived threat that so many white women feel from black women just existing. Before I continue, I'm gonna reference myself as attractive. Yes, I know, shocker. I did this before and y'all got on my ass. I don't know what to say, we're gonna keep doing it. But as a black woman, when you like transition from unattractive to being perceived as attractive, you will notice a change in behavior from not only men, but also women, specifically white women. Especially when you don't fit like a certain stereotype that they associate with your race and like what they deem a black woman should act like. It's almost like they don't know how to act with you and they end up, feeling this contempt. They implicitly know that they are the standard. Like they have been socialized to know that. It's been their experience to have men want them of any race. But in that, they also know that whiteness is sort of blankness. And I actually don't mean that in like a mean way. I mean, it is the standard. It's the norm. It is the opposite of exoticism. So in their male-centered minds, they're thinking, yeah, like in majority of cases, I'm going to get the guy. But when they want a little switch up, a change from their usual, that is when women of color, specifically black women, become a big threat. It's like a lot of them sort of know that a lot of girls look like them. A lot of pretty girls look like them. They can never account for the allure of a deviation from that norm. When they see an attractive black woman, it's like, okay, I have to say, how can I fight against this? I don't have the facilities to fight against this. And to compensate for that, I think that's why we see a lot of like white women try to play into the features of women of color. The style, the slick backs, the lip filler, aneurysms, all of it. Like they want to be able to oscillate between all types of attractiveness, become this sort of like maxed out woman who has every single thing a guy could ever want at any time. Because they are so used to being the standard, they cannot accept someone wanting something different. So they kind of try to like borrow parts of you to become that so that that won't happen again. It's very interesting and it happens more than you think.
I'm not going to fucking hold your hand as I say what I'm going to say, as you are too old, you are too grown to be babied and coddled to hear and accept the truth. With that being said, Black Americans are 100% allowed to want and to have an event that is 100% curated towards them and their culture without feeling the pressure of having to include other cultures of the Black and African diaspora. I said what the fuck I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. People from the Caribbean are 100% allowed to want and to have an event that is 100% curated for them and their culture. Hispanics are allowed the same rights. Natives are allowed the same rights. Everybody is allowed to have that. And I say that because of the recent discourse that is surrounding the Essence Festival. I don't know if you know about it, but there has been critiques basically from the Black American side stating that, especially with this year's Essence Festival, that it has become more Africanized, that Essence Festival has become increasingly more catering towards the African culture than the actual Black American culture. I'm going to make this so abundantly clear. The Essence Festival is known as the largest celebration of Black women. And I understand that when we use the word Black, we're including everybody that is a part of the African diaspora, but Black is a term that is referencing towards the Afro-Americans, okay? The Black Americans here in America. The rest of us, we put Afro in front of our title. Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latina, Afro-Asian, that's what we do. That being said, Essence Festival is an event that was created to celebrate Black American women. Not Black women all over the world, Black American women. And in the recent years, due to the acquisition of the Essence Festival by a Liberian man known as WHlTE, Essence Festival has become increasingly more catering towards the African culture rather than the Black American culture. And because Black Americans have started to speak up on it, there's actually been some African creators like basically making videos and trying to figure out what's the issue. Why is there so much negative conversation? Like, it seemed like everybody had fun. Two things can be true at once. Yes, people had fun, but they can still see that their culture is being less represented when this is supposed to be an event for their culture and another culture is being celebrated. When you guys have Afrofest, y'all have that. And if people were to go to Afrofest and now started hip hop here and rap over here, you're gonna complain. You're gonna complain. Because as a Caribbean person, if I hear somebody come to a Caribbean fete and they talking about where's the hip hop, I'm go and find that event. Like, you're gonna complain. So don't act dense. Don't act dense as if you don't understand where some of the negative commentary is coming from. Yes, people had fun, but they could have also had fun while realizing, yo, this is more African than it is American. And here's the creator, the video that I saw. I don't want her to get any hate. She already turned her comments off. The only reason why I'm including it is because every time that I say that I seen a video from somebody else, if I don't include them, you guys think that I'm fucking lying and just creating the story out of thin air. Or, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys are doing it because you want to be messy, but I'm sorry, I'm not lying.
Bro, the most eye-opening thing about being Black is like, you never know who secretly don't like you. This whole Joey Swole situation really opened my eyes because it's so many other like white creators, musicians that I rock with, actors. Whole time in the dark, they probably don't even rock with me or my kind. Like, what? It just be like, man, bro, nobody like us. They don't.
Let's start here. Black excellence is not new. It is the resilience, creativity, and achievement of Black people in spite of centuries of oppression. From Harriet Tubman freeing enslaved people to Madam C.J. Walker becoming Africa's first self-made female millionaire, to modern leaders like BIack and Michelle Obama, Black excellence is about overcoming barriers. But whenever Black people rise, system of power feel threatened. Why? Because Black success challenges the very foundation of white supremacy. Fear of Black excellence did not start today. It's been around since slavery. During slavery, white enslavers feared educated Black people. Why? Because education meant empowerment. Empowerment meant rebellion. That is why reading and writing were banned for the enslaved. After slavery, when Black communities thrived, like Tulsa's Black Wall Street, white mob destroyed them. The 1921 Tulsa massacre was not about crime, it was about fear of Black wealth and independence. White fear of Black excellence is not new. It is woven into the history of America. Why the fear? Because Black excellence threatens two things: white power and white identity. For centuries, white supremacists sold the lie that Black people were inferior. But every time a Black person becomes a CEO, a scientist, an artist, or a president, that lie falls apart. And when the system is built on dominance, equality feels like a threat. Many white people fear losing privilege, influence, and control. So the fear is not about Black failure. It is about what happens when Black people succeed. There is also a psychological layer. Black excellence forces white America to face its own contradictions. How can a society claim freedom and equality when the people it tried to oppress keep rising on the top? It is like holding up a mirror. Black excellence reflects black centuries of injustice. That reflections make some people angry, defensive, even violent. That is why you see backlash whenever black people win, whenever it is Serena Williams being scrutinized harder than our white counterparts, or backlash to movies like Black Panther that celebrate African identity. Look around today and you will see the same fear play out in new ways. When black athletes kneel during the national anthem, they are called unpatriotic. When black entrepreneurs create wealth, people assume it is undeserved. When black students excel, they are told it is because of quotas, not intelligence. Even in politics, Obama's presidency sparked hope for many, but it also triggered a wave of racial backlash that fueled movements built on resentment. Here is the truth. Black excellence does not diminish white people. It does not take away anyone else's success. Excellence is not a limited resources, but fear makes people believe equality means loss. That is why some white people cling to privilege instead of embracing progress, because deep down they know if the playing field were truly level, black brilliance would shine even brighter. So why are white people afraid of black excellence? Because it exposes the lies of racism, challenges systems of privilege, and proves that greatness knows no color. But here is the vision. Black excellence is not something to fear. It is something to celebrate, because when black people thrive, society as a whole moves forward. Jazz, hip-hop, medical breakthroughs, cultural innovations, political leadership. America would not be America without black excellence, and the world knows it. Black excellence is unstoppable. The real question is, will America and the world keep fearing it or finally embrace it? Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.